who's singing when you're writing? Because
Well, sadly, it's me.
I'm always oriented to, I got to sing my own song.
Yeah. You're lucky you're a great singer.
I mean, you are a song assassin. I love it.
I love that.
Is it 1,500 songs at this point? You're up in Irving, Berlin territory for songs written.
I've written a lot of songs.
That's what the internet says, 1,500.
Wow. You know, the data that matters is, does it make the hair on your arm stand up? Does it make you feel something?
So I'm intrigued about the cave. Do you have a name for the cave?
I mean, I didn't name it the cave, so it's a place I've been writing.
But what do you call it?
I mean, I just call it my disgusting writing room. I don't know. I mean, you know, Robert Hilburn one time wrote an article in what used to be called The Calendar. When it was a magazine, it was like really a long time ago. And he called it The Cave. And so, but I never called it that. I mean, I don't call it anything really. I just call it my room, you know. I've had it for almost 40 years.
I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I like it in there. I was there today. I start every day there, you know.
What time do you start every day?
About 9, a little after 9.
And is it, okay, what's your normal work day? Because I read
I just, you know, my normal work days, I show up like around 9 o'clock and just start writing. And, you know, then I also have a building where my studio is a couple of blocks away. So I usually start out at, you know, my old place.
And then go record whatever you're writing?
Yeah, not necessarily recording, but I go have lunch and then I might have a meeting, or I might, you know, like today I was just recording something before I got here. So, you know, it's all kind of, but I like to start out the day just by myself. Like, I had my company, it used to be at that place.
Okay.
And then the COVID shutdown happened, and everybody stayed home, and I was like, but I went there every day. I go, I really like it. I like being here. I like being here by myself. And I just bought the other place, and I was making that to be where the company would move to. So it all worked out.
Just a bunch of keyboards, drum machines. Like, what is your kind of work palette?
Yeah, a bunch of drum machine, like, you know, keyboards, and I have a couple of rooms in my old place, and then I have a grand piano in one room. So I kind of float around all those rooms, and then I go to the other one, and I write in the studio sometimes.
See, you touch my heart when you talk like this, because you and I have a very similar experience of just thousands and thousands of hours by ourselves.
Yeah.
Isn't
that weird that it's weird? It's weird. Like, people go, God, you write songs by yourself. I go, yeah, why is it's weird that it's weird?
It's my happiest place.
Me too. Like, it's like
it's
life
where all
to
the
me.
dreams come true or something, right?
Yes, I love it.
So when you're talking, I can feel it. Like,
yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
But no, it's so weird. Now there's so many people, like there'll be like 10 people in a room, like a writing camp. I'm like, that, you know, I mean, you know, can I talk like that? I'll be bleeping me a lot.
That's fine.
But yeah.
So to paint the picture for our great audience, like, describe, I know there's stuff all over the floor. There's cassettes. And,
yeah, there's, I don't know.
Is there DAT tapes? Are we going like?
Oh, there's DATs, there's cassettes, there's everything. I mean, it's like, there's probably like dinosaur eggs in there. I don't know. I've been there so long. Who knows what's there? I'm probably immune to every disease, because like I've been there for 40 years without cleaning
all like mold and
the mold won't even go in there.
Do you, when you go in to write, are you focused on one idea that captures your attention? Or are you in a free associative state and then go back and review?
I mean, I like just to work on one song at one time, because I have to give it my full attention, because I have to really make that song as good as I can.
I hate this question, but I'm such a fan of your writing. I'm going to ask the question I don't like being asked, which is melody. You know, what's the first thing generally? I like to have a concept of something I want to write. So I'm going to steal this, because this is really about me getting a free class from you. No, but not that I can teach anything, but I like something that's going to compel me to write it. But so it might be just playing some chords, like that happens too. Okay, but if it's an idea, is it a scenario, like a? No, it might be just a title. I don't know. I just kind of anything. Yeah. As long as you feel. Yeah, feel compelled to do it, or I might just be playing chords, you know, and then not knowing what, you know, but I don't ever write a lyric first and write music to it. I've never done that. Never, huh? Mm-mm. I've done that a few times, and it's always worked. So I don't know why I don't do it more. I don't think it's my, excuse me, I don't think it's my natural state. I think my natural state is melody first. Yeah. And then kind of the melody tells me the story. Exactly. Okay. Are you superstitious? I kind of am, you know, but that's not why I don't want to clean my room. You know, Please tell me why you don't want to clean your room. Now I'm just too lazy. I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm used to it. I like it. Well, you know, as we say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. Explain, I think I know, but I want to hear it from you. Explain the advantage of writing in a place that you feel comfortable in or safe in. Or yeah, it's like anything. I mean, it makes it easier if you feel safe. It's like, you know, I don't know how to answer that.
I like to be comfortable, and then I could just not think about where I am. Because when we write, it transports us.
So it's a lack of distraction in a way, like.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
even though it's really even though I got a lot of distraction in my room, like it's all messy and disgusting, but in my mind, I don't notice anything. I don't.
Yeah.
I drive down Sunset a million times, and I'll go, I'll see something, not realize it's been there for 30 years, and I've been driving by it, but I just don't notice.
Yeah.
So.
Are you an astrology believer?
Not as much, but I do like a good horoscope. I believe in it when it's a good horoscope.
So I looked up your birthday.
Yeah.
September 7th.
Yep.
And it said this, I thought this was funny. Visionaries and ready to act on impulse as long as their instincts are nurtured as they grow up. I'll say it again. Visionaries, so your birth date is September 7th. Visionaries and ready to act on impulse as long as their instincts are nurtured as they grow up.
I'm not sure if the last part of it makes sense, because I don't know how nurtured I was growing up.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. There's these apocryphal stories that you read, and of course I want your version, but this idea that your father was more supportive of your interest in music than your mother. And
my dad was really supportive. My mom was like, how are you gonna make a living doing that? And I grew up really literally a mile away from where we're sitting right now.
It's pretty cool.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, the chances of, same with you, like what are the chances that you'd be successful?
So
or
there's
me?
zero.
I don't know. I didn't have anybody in my family that was in music. My dad sold insurance.
See, my father was a musician, but he didn't want me to play music. So it worked the opposite. Everybody assumed he would be supportive, and he was totally not supportive.
Because it was probably hard for him, and he didn't want you to have that life.
And other reasons, but it's not important. So describe for me, here we are in Van Nuys, describe for me Van Nuys sort of mid-'60s, because, in Chicago, we have such a Beach Boy version of California.
Right.
But give me your version in your teen.
Just hanging out with 12. My friends, getting stoned all the time. You're talking about like when we were I was a little kid, or when I was about.
I guess I'm looking for when you really started in, let's call it 10, 12, 14, when music becomes sort of central to your identity.
Well, I was obsessed with music before I even,
At what age?
Playing it. Seeing the Beatles.
So you saw the Beatles?
Yeah, on Ed Sullivan. But I saw them in person, too, because I have older sisters.
Was it Santa Monica Civic or something?
I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl and Dodger Stadium.
Ah, you saw the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah. I remember a lot of screaming. But I remember making my mom buy me Meet the Beatles after seeing them on that. So I think that fuse lit everybody.
It lit a lot of people,
And, I was obsessed with music, and I got to hear everything growing up in my house. My parents listened to show tunes. I had older sisters.
The show tunes I can hear in your writing. Which
is weird, because I don't really hear that, but it's an interesting
I can hear it, but the other thing is it's also in McCartney's writing, too. He had a lot of show tunes. I guess I would say it's, maybe it's
a melody thing. It's a melody thing.
But also the melody tells a story.
Right. I see that. But anyways, when I was 11, my dad got me a little guitar from Tijuana, and I started making up songs. And he was taking me to a guitar teacher, and the guitar teacher wanted me to learn scales. I think it was somewhere on Balboa and Devonshire, so it's around here too. It's so weird. And he told my dad not to bring me back because I had no future in music, because I didn't want to learn the scales. I wanted to make up my own songs. So that's when I started getting the bug, to write.
Do you remember like a first song?
Not exactly. I remember some of the old songs, but not the exact first one.
Right. And who would you have been listening to when you first?
To the radio.
Okay. So whatever was on in.
Yeah, because radio when I grew up, it's like KRLA, KFWB, KHJ. They played everything, so it wasn't like so fragmented like it is now.
Well, the pop radio at the time was pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, it had played, but you could hear everything. You could hear the Beatles, you could hear Motown, you could hear
Clark.
Downtown, great song.
Yeah, I just heard it the other day. It's such a cool song.
It's a great key change in the chorus.
Yeah, right.
But so I got to hear, it was like getting this master class of songwriting, because to me that was the golden age. I love the Brill Building, that whole era.
So was your father's support in hindsight just an act of loyalty because it meant something to you, or do you think he saw something in you?
I think he saw something in me.
Can you try to define that a bit?
It's hard to define. I think my dad was, like after he retired, he would work with actors at this place called the Megaw Theater it was on, what was it, Satakoy around White Oak. And I think my dad was like a frustrated performer almost, or something, like he, anyways, but he totally supported me. He would take me to publishers and stuff. And
wow.
I was like an arrogant little asshole.
But how old is he
like
taking?
About 15 or 16.
That's a pretty...
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a story like going to see a publisher, because this is...
Let me see, one time, this was funny. So I was like probably about 16 or 17. And my dad took me to see a publisher, and the guy, he liked my songs, but he didn't, he said, well, why don't you go in the studio, do some demos? And my dad goes, if you like them so f***ing much, why aren't you spending your money? I'll never forget that, But,
yeah.
And then I made my dad get me a subscription at Billboard where I studied everything. Who wrote everything, who produced it, what record. I mean,
okay, so when you started doing that,
yeah,
because I started doing that too around a similar age, it was like, who's really running this thing, right? Like, did you start to see songwriters, you see Carole King's name and you start, did you?
Yeah, I would see different names, and
but who sticks out in your mind that?
Well, seeing Goff and King was one of the first things I ever saw in a single that when I said I want to be in that parentheses.
It even sounds good, right?
Goff and King. I mean, like I knew Carole King more as a songwriter from Tapestry.
Right.
But because that Brill Building era to me is like the greatest, songs ever.
Amazing.
It's
kind of a fantasy, right? Like to go back in a time machine and just be in that building.
Yeah, those little cubicles. That's why I like to be in that's why I like my room. I kind of feel like I created my own version of it.
Yeah. But are there any other writers, you might not have been conscious of them at the time, but are the writers looking back or even then that really stick out in your mind?
Yeah, I loved all the Holland Dozier Holland songs, all the Motown songs, all the, I would, people like that. And then I would just, really get into, I hated school. I failed everything, basically. But when
you're obviously bright, so it was disinterested.
And I didn't give it.
Yeah.
But when you find what probably like you, when you find music or you find something you love.
That was it, I was off.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I want to know everything. I want to know, and I would just study everything.
This is a bit of an esoteric question, but in your mind, is there a sort of a California dream? I mean, you grew up...
I grew up here, so I could see it from the outside, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Like you think it's probably like Beach Boys and I'm around the beach.
Yeah.
And we were in the valley, me and my friends, we had our little, group of weirdos, So it wasn't like we thought the California dream because not that we were living the California dream, we just were like valley kids.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's hard because back in Chicago, through the prism of television, this looked like this magical...
Right, it's almost like how Hollywood looks outside.
Absolutely.
You're in Hollywood.
It looks so...
Like glamorous and cool or whatever.
Yeah, but that's what I love about you saying your dad took you to publishers. He was like, let's get in there. Because that's where you would go. That's where he would take you.
And then there was this thing called the Songwriter Showcase that my dad would take me to.
Tell me, let's explain that.
It was Len Chandler and John Brahaney they had a showcase that they'd showcase for publishers and stuff. And my dad would take me there. He first took me when I was like 15, and they didn't really like the songs I first brought them. And I'd argue and say, you don't know what you're talking about. I was such an arrogant little brat, And then my dad would, go, you need to listen to them. And they'd go, Mr. Warren, you go in the other room. And then, they'd talk to me. And then I'd come back the next week with 5 more songs. I kept coming back. And then finally, I got to be on their showcase. I was like 16 years old or something, But, I don't know. I'm always someone that keeps coming back. So...
It's the title of your documentary.
Relentless, yeah.
Relentless.
Yes, I am relentless.
At what age did you think, okay, I can do this? This is like my thing.
I thought I could do this when I had no reason to. I thought I'd be like, I thought I was great when I wasn't. But I think you have to have that, You have to have a little bit of that kind of self-deception,
Okay, so what makes you great?
What makes anybody great is, hard work and talent.
Yeah.
And you can't have one without the other.
Absolutely.
Talent without work doesn't mean hard work without talent doesn't mean. But if you...
So you had the drive innately.
Yeah, totally.
So once you found that thing, you were like...
Yeah, this is it. And I'm still as driven and hungry as I am ever. Now.
That to me is impressive. That's,
my rear view mirror, it doesn't work. So I don't look at it.
Because your chops haven't been in dispute for a long, long time. But
I can always get better. So I always want to get better at what I do.
That's what impresses me as a fellow writer is you just won't give it up.
No.
there's no resting on the laurels.
No.
It's impressive. It really is.
I don't even know where the laurels are.
I think it's your most admirable quality, because talent is a weird thing, whether you want to argue it was given to us or, you know what I mean? It's like we were sort of hit with a wand somewhere on coming down.
Somewhere, yeah.
But the rest of it is really up to us.
Up to us, yeah. And up to, you have a gift, but it's what you do with it.
Yeah. Did you, because of that environment, that late 60s, early 70s environment, did you see that being a woman in the music business on the production writing side was going to work against you?
No, I mean, first of all, I never got the memo because I'm a woman, I couldn't do something, you know.
No, I don't mean it that way. I'm just talking about the culture around you.
Oh, no, I never wanted to be a producer anyways.
But did you feel there was any prohibition?
No, because I didn't feel there was a prohibition because it was never anything I desired. You know what I mean? I just wanted to write. And I never felt, because I was a girl, that it was going to be harder. I think if
I didn't mean it like that. So maybe I'm not phrasing it. I mean it along the sense of like, if a young man walks in an office in 1972 versus a young woman walking into an office in 1972, by and large, the history of this business is the man would have a better opportunity to be heard, listened to, supported
I see
than the
that.
female writer on the business side. You know what I mean? Meaning like, because the business of making music is its own business. You know, you own your publishing and all that type of stuff, right? I just was wondering if there was you felt any of that.
I didn't really feel any of that.
That's amazing.
No, I didn't.
Maybe that's just your...
I think it's also different if you're an artist. If you were being a female artist, that might be, you know, a different kind of thing, I'm thinking.
I don't know,
You know, but I just...
That's why I asked the question, because I assume things, but sometimes I think it just might be in my own head, it's like I'm imagining.
It's probably, I mean, it's a legitimate question.
So when you start to enter into, like, let's call it the professional side of the equation, what's the first time you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm in this weird Willy Wonka world of, now I'm a writer, now what's like, for you, what's the first, like, stake in the ground that you see?
Like I always thought I could do this, you know, and make a living at it, like, again.
You made that clear.
Okay, but the first time it was like, wow, I have a hit record was Rhythm of the Night.
Yeah,
it was in
85?
85, like 40 years ago this year. So weird. I was like 5 when I wrote it. I was such a prodigy. So that was...
Great song.
Thank you. Yeah, it's...
My father used to cover it, you know.
No, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Wow, what did your dad play?
Guitar.
Wow.
It was more of a... He could play lead, no problem, but he was a great rhythm player.
Wow, that's
so he liked anything that had a good...
rhythm.
Yeah.
I think I'd just gotten my drum machine, a Lynn drum. Is that what it would have been at the time?
Yeah.
And I was like playing around with that's how that song started.
So describe the music world. Because I'm always interested in what it felt like. So it's one thing to say, you know, I wrote the song, and it was a big song, 1985, but it's another thing, like, what did it feel like to you, that environment? Because the music business back then was smaller than it is today, less corporate than it is today, maybe a little bit more Wild West, free for all.
Well, I was signed to, you know, this German publisher. His name was Jack White, not White Stripes, Jack White. So it was like my first publishing deal. You know, so I was kind of, I don't know if I'm answering the question, but...
It's just, I'm just trying to get a sense from you, like a snapshot of what...
Of those days, like it seemed a lot more fun, like, you know, that era.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying,
Before it got really corporate,
That's kind of what I'm after.
And then later on, a couple of my friends were in promotion, record promotion. So I would go out with them and, you know, remember La Dome back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and all those places that were like just, and I wasn't really a partier. I wanted to get to work the next day, and I'd be staying at my friend's house, you know, and getting ready to get up to work, and, you know, her roommate would be coming. They were all coked out of their minds. They're coming back in the morning, and I don't know. Those were crazy days.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm after. It's just like, it's important sometimes because especially I think for young people, especially people looking into getting into the business, whether it's as an artist or as a writer, they're presented such a corporate, wound up, weird business.
Must be weird to get in now, where it's like all about TikTok and
that's what I'm trying to say.
Like, would the greatest artists in the world be signed now? Would Prince be signed? You know, if his TikTok numbers
or would he
high?
have would he have to do silly stuff to
Probably, which is so.
That's kind of what I'm after.
Yeah.
Is like you saw it.
I see. So I grew up, and I came up when it wasn't like that, and I'll be in the studios. I work with a lot of young artists, and I'll be like, oh, so why aren't they promoting that song? Oh, and it's a great song. It's a great record. Oh, the TikTok numbers aren't high. Oh, the data. And like, you know, the data that matters is, does it make the hair on your arm stand up? Does it make you feel something?
Yeah.
And it's so tech. Data, you know, it's the antithesis of.
Yeah, it's not a harp. It's more of like, I think it's important to illustrate that the business that you and I came up in had a different sense of opportunity, which is like if you were willing to go for it and you got it done and you had the gift to do it, doors would open. Now, imagine you get...
Well, doors can open, but if your TikTok numbers aren't high...
But that's what's so crazy.
Like in the Springsteen days, where they'd wait to, I think it was his second album that broke, you know? It wouldn't have even been his second single.
Yeah, I mean...
They would have dropped him.
I'm sure you've heard those stories where major labels in this town will sign artists solely on their numbers. They don't even care if they can sing.
Oh, I work with some of these. I've worked with some of them. You know, yes, and it's like, oh my God, it was like some kind of viral TikTok thing that was lightning in a bottle. This isn't a real artist. It's like they're not going to last.
Yeah.
You know, and I deal with that sometimes.
Okay. I'm curious was there a point where you made the decision, I don't want to be the person behind the microphone, I want to be the person...
Oh, I always knew I didn't want to be the person behind the microphone. I always knew I just wanted to write.
Really?
Yeah. Even though
somehow I got the sense that at some point there was a moment where you... Okay.
I'm never...
Again, maybe I made that up.
No, I've never been a frustrated artist. No. But I did start a record that I might finish just for the of it. Like, not that I care about it, but like, I like being... I'm very happy behind the scenes with better singers singing my songs.
Is there a frustration, though, that comes in when you know you've got a song and you can hear it in your mind and you trust it, and then the person singing it doesn't have the right understanding of it? It's not the right voice.
It's happened. It's happened.
But is that frustrating? I guess
once it's a hit, I'm like, well, it's the right voice.
But what I'm saying is, in my mind, I go back to, you know, I'm always oriented to, I got to sing my own song.
Yeah. You're lucky you're a great singer.
Well, God bless you.
You know, I'm like, you know, Blanche Dubois in Streetcar Named Desire. I always depend on the kindness of strangers.
Don't make me laugh. Do you write with singers in mind when you're...
You know, no, I try to write the best song I can write. And then like, a lot of my songs go different ways, but like, I just try to write a great song. But then as I'm writing it, I'm thinking, oh, that could be right for so-and-so, or that, or someone like that I never thought of, like Steven Tyler, like, but I don't want to miss a thing. Like, I never in a million years thought Steven Tyler would ever do my song.
Yeah.
You know, and B would, you know, that would have been a song for him. But now I can't imagine anybody else. So.
Yeah, it's the idea of when you're writing, you know, in my mind, you would always be the star of the movie, right? Is that fair? I mean,
depends on what movie. You know.
Right, but I'm saying is I'm not trying to project, because again, it's all respect with your gift. It's just trying to understand, because you've written so many great songs and you had such great success. I feel like there's got to be some consistent voice in there, even if it's eternal. Does that make sense?
I mean, like a voice I'm hearing? Because I write so many different genres of songs. Like, you know, I go from, like, just did something with Angelique Kidjo, and then I'll go from that to, you know, Lady A to, then I'll go to...
We're getting to the list of people that have recorded your songs.
So it's not one, in other words, so it's not one voice.
Okay.
It's kind of whatever voice is right for that song.
So I must be projecting. I just imagine...
It's interesting. I mean, they're good questions.
Yeah, I just curious, like, who's singing when you're writing? Because...
Well, sadly, it's me.
But
I mean, because I'm the one in the room.
But we've all had that experience of we're totally into a song and we record it and we feel it.
Yeah.
And then we listen back and go, oh my God, like, who's singing the song? The voice in the head, for me, is always stronger than this voice.
But you can really sing. See, I don't like to listen to myself sing. So sometimes I'm writing and I pretend I'm somebody else.
That's kind of what I'm after. You know, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, but
is it characters you can play, you know?
Well, no, it's like, it might be an artist. It might be when I'm writing, I'm like imagining someone doing it. But then I come back to earth and I have to hear me, so.
Are you the type of writer that you go in thinking, I want to write a great song, or I want to write a great single, or is it?
I want to write a great song. Hopefully it's a great single too.
Yeah, because your success at writing singles is.
But you never know what's gonna, like, some things are, you never know.
Okay, so
I just try to write great songs.
Is there a song?
I want them to sound like they could be hits. I want them to all connect. I want them to write songs that connect.
But is there a song that we would know that you thought, I really love this song, I don't think it'll ever be a single, and it became a big success?
I have to think.
Yeah.
Anytime any of them are successful, I'm always shocked, to be honest, because everything can work against it.
Yeah.
You know, so when one comes through, it's like, oh my God, what didn't f up there, you know?
So when you start having hits,
yeah,
85, right? Yeah. Does the phone start ringing?
People started liking songs that they didn't like a week before. I remember that.
I love this town.
You know, yeah, right? And then the ones that
Suddenly you're a genius.
Yeah,
Suddenly now you're a genius.
And all the ones that didn't want to sign you go, oh my God, I always believed in you and stuff. But it's okay, you know, you just smile and go, yeah, you
can you write to order?
I can, if I have to, you know.
Just walk me through.
I mean, right now I have a TV show that I helped develop. That's a big Disney, you know, music show.
Is it out yet, or
it's being filmed now?
Okay.
So it's about 3 young girls.
Can you share the name, or?
Well, it's called How We Became the Biggest Band in the World. So it's about these 3 girls. Young, they meet in junior high, and they become.
So you're writing to the characters.
So so I'm writing songs for them, but I'm writing hit songs that are authentic to who they are. You know.
Yeah.
So it is kind of writing to order, you know.
This is a totally self-indulgent question. Do you have a favorite key to write in?
I kind of I like D.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Maybe it's because my name starts with a D. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think on the guitar, C and G. I mean, all those normal keys. But, I like D flat. I've written some good songs in D flat.
It has a sorrow to it. Do you feel that?
Yeah, darker.
Right? Even if it's major.
Yeah, it's dark.
Feels
it's a little
bit dark. Yeah. I know you don't just write alone, but
I basically do.
I was getting there, but my point is there an inner reason, or that's just again your comfort?
It's just it's what I'm comfortable. I like taking something from nothing, and building. We're world builders in a way, right?
Oh yeah.
Like every song is a world, and it has its own laws and its own rules that only fit that. And I love doing that. I love creating those worlds.
So not in the like we're sitting in front of a bunch of kids, like they want to write songs, like to a pro like me. Like, what's your most sage writing advice? Do you have like?
I mean, my advice for anything, if you want to succeed, is show up.
Right. Well, you've showed up.
Yeah. You got to show up. You got to show up and work.
I always say my personal breakthrough, and I want to ask yours. My personal breakthrough was when I allowed myself to write a bad song. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I've allowed that to happen. I try not to now, but I try not to write a bad song. But But was there a moment where you felt this breaking open of the doors? Does that make sense?
In terms of
like there are those periods when we're learning, like, oh, Lennon McCartney wrote this kind of cool intro, and you kind of learn it and you go, oh, okay, now I understand why they did it that way. And there's the mechanical part of learning the chop. Right. And then there comes a point where it's like you're writing your song. Yeah. Was there a sort of personal breakthrough where you felt that? I mean, like learning someone else's song too? No, I meant like more along the lines of like... A breakthrough of going to another level of writing? Yes, where you're like, okay, now I'm writing my song... Like, this is what I envisioned. I'm writing it. It exists, and now it is in the world. Well, I'll give an example. I mean, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but when I wrote that song, when I wrote Because You Loved Me, I was like, this is a whole different level of my writing. And and when I wrote it, I go, this song is better than me. And I have to catch up to that song. That's kind of what I mean. Yeah, so what about... I go, how did I write that? And I have to catch up to that because that's just one to other. For people who don't know writing, can you break that down a little bit? I don't even know how to break it down. it was the level. Was it identifying an emotional part of you that you had? No, it was just the craft of it or something. It was just, I don't know. I felt like I don't analyze stuff. I just kind of do. I'm a nerd, so I apologize. No, it's okay. It's okay. I just don't really sit in it and like. I just knew that when you get that feeling, it's like it's a breakthrough. Yeah, I feel I feel the best writers don't analyze.
Yeah, I have no clue how I do what I do, so I just show up.
I spend all my time trying to figure out how I do what I do.
That's all right.
This is a fun list. It's long, but I think it's important because for those who don't know why we're here, these are some of the people that have recorded songs of yours. Bette Midler, Stevie B, Celine Dion, Cheap Trick, En Vogue, Whitney Houston, Belinda Carlisle, Taylor Dane, Britney Spears, Marsha Hines, Alice Cooper, Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, TLC, Aaliyah, right?
Aaliyah. Yeah.
Aaliyah, sorry. Heart, Agnetha Fault Song, is that from
it's
ABBA?
One of the ABBA girls.
I know.
Yeah.
So what a voice.
You're going in the old days, a lot of those, but
I'm just going what's on the paper. Elton John, Cher, Tina Turner, Bryan Adams, Selena, Jessica Simpson, Air Supply, Olivia Newton-John, Barbra Streisand, Aretha Franklin, Roberta Flack, Roy Orbison, Trisha Yearwood, Patti LaBelle, Michael Bolton, NSYNC, Renee Froger, Gloria Estefan, Reba McEntire, Enrique Iglesias, Paloma Faith, Russell Watson, Rod Stewart, Aerosmith, The Cult, Kiss, Ricky Martin, Monica Faith Hill, Meatloaf, Sugar Babes, Mariah Carey, Toni Braxton. I mean, it's
a lot of people on there.
Lady Gaga. I mean, Starship, Weezer, Joe Cocker, Milli Vanilli. I mean, it's just
Blame It on the Rain.
And this is just like part of the iceberg.
Yeah, that's.
So I obviously I want to flatter you, but
you don't have to flatter me.
I like flattering you.
No. Okay, then if you flatter me, I have to flatter you.
It's just such a rare list of accomplishment.
Oh.
Do you feel that?
I don't think about it. I kind of forgot some of those people on the list. I'm like, Renee Froger, but
well, again, is it 1,500 songs at this point? You're up in Irving Berlin territory as far as songs written.
Probably. I've written a lot of songs.
That's what the internet says. 1,500.
Wow, and Irving Berlin's a hero. So.
He could only play the black keys.
Yeah, I know, and he had that thing on his piano. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
I
we
think
should
he played in what was it, in D flat or something?
Well, he would have either been playing in E flat or D sharp, however you want to say it. I'm not trained.
Yeah, me.
Or F sharp. So he's basically playing F sharp, E or C sharp.
Right. Wow. And he just never bothered to learn how to play in different keys.
How do you write like that, right?
I don't know. It's like right now you can just press a button. Get
9 number 1 songs.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. I think I'm tied, me and Lionel Richie, with the most number 1s solo written.
Look out, Lionel. But what a great writer too. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Fuck yeah.
Like
great writer. Great guy too. Really nice guy.
It's my parlance, but when people can write like you, I call you assassins. You guys are assassins.
I like that. Someone else called me an assassin.
You're an assassin.
I love that.
I mean, you are a song assassin. I love it.
I love that.
I love it.
Someone not that long ago called me a trained assassin. I'm like, I like that.
Recently, in an interview with a fellow musician, I was using the analogy of the gunfighters in the movies.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to face you on the street,
I don't know.
Because you're an assassin.
I know, but you probably are too, and you'd probably.
I'm my own kind of assassin.
Yeah, so you'd get me.
33 top 10 songs.
Yeah. Weird. I know.
Is that enough? Or
No, nothing's enough.
I love it. I love it.
It's never enough. No.
I got to tell you one moment that really connects me to you. We've met in the past, which was nice because I got to talk to you in the past. But this is let's call it the snobby musician not really understanding how great you were until this moment.
Oh wow. You a snobby musician?
I'm a totally snobby musician.
It's okay, so. But you're talking to me. And I'm like the most uncool person in the world.
Listen, you're a lot cooler than you think you are. I mean,
thank you.
When you can do what you can do, it's pretty cool to me. So I don't care what anybody
Well, I think
thinks.
you're cool too.
Thank
but
you.
you
God
really
bless
are
you.
cool.
Thank you. God bless you. But okay, so let me tell you this moment.
Okay.
So I don't remember where it was. It's some MTV thing. Could have been the Grammys. I don't remember. And it was when the Aerosmith song.
Oh wow, yeah, 1998. I don't want to miss a thing.
I don't want to miss this thing. And like a lot of old school Aerosmith fans, I was kind of condemnatory of ballad Aerosmith.
Oh, right.
It felt like it was this...
Aerosmith did a Diane Warren song.
It was
they sold out.
Well, I was probably one of those snobby rock fans saying the same thing. And, remember they used to do that skit on SNL where it would be like, I think with Adam Sandler, where he would sing like 7 different Aerosmith ballads.
Oh, I didn't see that, though.
It was kind of a funny skit. He would sing Crying, and then, like, it was just like they would just play the same song, musically, and he would sing the lyrics to, like, seven different Aerosmith ballads. So by the time it got to the song that it was from the movie, I can't remember. Armageddon.
Yeah.
Huge movie, huge moment. And I, it's one of those things, like when you're at one of those award shows, I was like in the 7th row, and I could see Steven, who I didn't know then, and I don't know him now, but I've met him since. But I saw him on the side of the stage getting ready, typical musician, kind of pacing around.
Yeah.
And he's chewing gum, like, right? And then, you could see somebody coming over going like, we're about to go.
Right.
He spits out his gum, and he steps up, and that performance was just, I was like, and then for the first time.
That was probably the Grammys, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the first time, that's the last time they invited me to the Grammys, by the way.
So I didn't go either.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well,
I'd rather go to the Oscars.
God bless. We'll get to that too. But for the first time, I found myself going, who the wrote this song?
Oh, wow.
Right?
I love that.
As a musician, right? Like as a snobby musician, I'm like,
because I can hate that, but
well, I'm not the biggest fan of that type of music. It's just the way I am.
Yeah, no,
it's
I get it.
nothing personal, but I'm watching him kill this vocal.
Yeah. Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the first thing I did was, who wrote this song?
Oh, wow.
And then I saw your name. Now I knew your name, you know what I mean? Because you're in the ether. But then I started going, oh, she wrote that song, and she wrote that song, and she wrote that song, and then it was like,
I hate
okay.
them all. You read those songs?
But since that moment, I've paid attention because I was like, okay, this person knows what they're doing.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, Major League Baseball, you've only got to get 3 hits out of 10, and you're a star.
Okay.
They're paying you $1 billion. Okay, 16 Academy Award nominations. Speaking
I'm on 16 right now.
Yes.
And ask me how many I won.
Well, one of my nicknames is Zero, so I think it's 0.
I think that should be my nickname too. Oh, yeah. No, but it's great. I mean, this is a cliche, but it's just great to be just nominated, but it really is, especially with the Oscars.
Yeah, but come on.
No, but there's only 5 songs. They only picked 5
But you wrote all of them. That's the problem.
But, well, I wrote 1 of 5 16 times.
Maybe that's what it's going to take. You got to write all 5.
Oh, yeah, then I would definitely, I would definitely win. No, but I'm really excited about this year. This, maybe it'll happen.
Well,
it's a really good song. And
hopefully by the time people see this, you will have won. So.
Yeah, or I'll just...
I'm superstitious, like I can't pre-congratulate you.
Okay, yeah, don't do that.
Is songwriting therapeutic? Another question I don't like, but...
Yeah, but it is, isn't it? Like, don't you feel better when you write and you write something great?
I feel better when I write a good song.
Yeah, me too. Even starting one where I just go, oh, I love this. Yeah, it's totally therapeutic.
Is it true that going to therapy helped you write songs? Or is that some
It didn't hurt me,
Can you explore that a little bit?
What happens? I bought David Geffen's house, like his little house.
Like, I was gonna, because I've been to the other one. So
no, not the.
That's why my eyes got really wide.
The small one, where his boyfriend was living at the time, a while ago, and I tried to negotiate the price down, and he said, "You're crazy. You need to see my shrink." And she was this woman named Beatrice Foster, and she was kind of this mean Argentinian. But my friends would, people I knew would go, it's going to hurt your writing and all that. And it didn't, it didn't hurt my writing at all.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, so.
This is the not the typical, explain it for those in the crowd who don't understand, but it's addressed in your documentary, which again I haven't seen yet, but I saw some of the clips. But whether it's Asperger's or on the spectrum, or
I mean that shrink, the mean Argentinian one.
Yeah.
She's the one who said I have Asperger's.
Yeah.
So I never technically was diagnosed.
Yeah.
But I think we're probably all on the spectrum that do this.
Yeah. That's kind of why I wanted to ask, because it seems like one of those things where it's like.
I mean, to sit there and sit and do one line of a song all day long, you have to figure it out. I mean, you got to be a little bit weird.
Well, I don't know, because I don't feel I'm on the spectrum, and I'm just as
driven and
laser obsessive
focused
as you are.
Yeah, so I mean, I think people put names on all these things. I mean, what does that really mean?
Do you have that thing? And this is a shop question, but like the song gets in you and it won't won't leave.
Yeah.
Like you go to bed.
Yeah.
And you wake up and it's like, oh my God, leave me alone.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, it does.
Have you had the thing where you go to bed and you wake up and your brain has rearranged the song?
No, I wish that happened.
That happens to me sometimes.
That's your lucky.
Which is cool.
You're lucky.
Because my brain does a better arrangement than I did.
Wow.
So I'll wake up and
it figured everything out?
Yeah, it solves the problems for me.
Okay, so I don't have that brain. I wish I did.
It doesn't happen all the time.
It's amazing.
But have you dreamt songs? Have you had that?
No, if I've dreamt something, I don't remember it. So I don't really dream songs to become songs.
I have 3 or 4 songs that came out on records that were from dreams.
Wow.
Yeah. But they never sound as good on record as they sounded in the dream.
Well, yeah,
in the dream, they sound
looks better and sounds better in a dream.
In the dream, it's like, oh my God, this is the greatest song ever.
Wow.
I'm not looking for gossip. This is not a gossip show. But I'm curious about...
I am. You got any?
I'm happy to talk gossip with you. You all talk gossip with all day. But this idea of being single or saying, I don't want a relationship, I feel the way it comes off, the stuff I read, it feels like reductionist or something. But
I don't know. That's just my life. I like to sleep with a cat.
But can the cat write songs?
No, so she's kind of useless. No, but I could stay awake just to hear her purring. So I rewrote the Aerosmith song.
Is there any connection, though, with being out of relationship in the literal sense of the word that creates an ambiance around love that keeps it in a certain place for you? Because you've written so many love songs.
Well, I could fall in love in every song because I could be in that character. And then I'm out of it and I'm on the next one. I can write a song next and I can write, it's just, I've never got the memo I had to be in a relationship with anybody. It's just not me.
When you're writing and you're poking around a melody, are you more? Is it more phonetic, or are you looking for lyrics?
I'm just saying what happens.
Okay, yeah, I get that. What's your favorite story in a song? And what I mean by that is, like, how they say in Hollywood, there's only 12 stories. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, girl.
So what was my favorite? I don't know.
Do you have a favorite kind of mythological?
No.
Really?
Not really.
Oh.
Do you?
It seems to be looking for something that doesn't exist.
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with growing up without my mother.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, thank you. But so going back to the California...
I do think there's a theme in some of my songs,
because we're here to talk
proving people wrong. There's always that, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to...
You got a scrappy thing to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty scrappy,
Yeah, I just wondered...
Even in the journey, even like my latest song with her.
Nomination 16.
Number 16.
We're going to win this
Sweet
time.
16, come on. But basically that's what the song is about, when you're going with your heart, you can go farther than you ever thought possible, prove them all wrong.
Okay, so that is
it's all part of
foundational.
The
yeah, there's a mythological foundation to that, right?
It's the journey.
Is it being small, too? Is that part of the sort of the scrappiness?
No, it's just basically that against all odds. Just like, growing up a mile away from here, and I'm sitting here talking about a career that I know is 1 in a billion.
It is. It might even be more than 1 in a billion.
So I don't lose sight of that. So,
is there a musical genre you can't write for?
I probably don't know how to write rap.
Okay.
But I can write for rappers that sing. But I think that's probably the,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe death metal wouldn't be what I would do.
Yeah, I once got in a kind of a quasi-argument with somebody on Broadway who didn't think I could write for Broadway.
I bet you could write amazing for Broadway.
Well, that's what I told him.
Yeah.
And I said, that's like telling someone who cooks really good Italian food they can't cook good Mexican.
Right,
it's like
right.
You don't understand the chop of a writer. A writer can write.
Can do anything.
A cook can cook and a writer can write.
Exactly.
That's. But I was just wondering if there's anything that you would be intimidated by genre-wise.
No, just not knowing that I wouldn't be able to do it or want to do it.
Have you tried your hand at alternative rock? Not a lot of melody there.
Not a lot, but
not a lot of melody there.
It, but
I know the answer to the question, but tell me if I'm wrong, which is like there's never enough songs.
Yeah, there's always new ones.
There's always another song.
Yeah. I'm always on to the next one.
Is there at the root of it, is there some pathological drive there?
Probably. I don't think about it. I just do it.
Well, we're here to think about it.
No, I just, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
Is
there something that you still hope to achieve in song? Like,
just get better at it. I want to just keep writing great songs. And
you must have been approached to write musicals and stuff like that.
And there's a couple of things I'm kind of doing.
Yeah. Isn't there something where they're talking about doing like a songbook musical?
Yeah, there's one that's in development.
Okay.
That's been written and stuff. So it's a bunch of my hits, but with new songs. Too,
Yeah.
But it's not my day job. It's not really my world, but it's cool if it works.
Yeah.
It just takes forever.
It's definitely a different modality too.
Yeah.
They're very driven by other forces than we would be in, say, writing a pop song.
It's not. It's not as it takes too long. It takes a long time. It's not as
You could probably speed it up a bit, but it still takes too long.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah, it's weird because I've talked to people on Broadway and say, "Don't you want to have songs on Broadway that people would want to buy?"
Yeah, exactly. Like
not
if
people,
I do musicals, I want to do like ones that are hit songs.
That's what I don't understand. Why they don't?
It's weird,
It
right?
seemed to have worked that out of their business model.
Yeah.
Like Oklahoma and all that.
Yeah,
those were
the ones my parents played.
They were on the charts.
Those were great, like hit songs, and you can modernize.
Well, not only that, those songs would be covered by Charlie Parker or Miles Davis or
Ray Charles. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened to that part of the culture.
Well, when I do my musicals, there's going to be hits in them.
There you go. Okay, last question, and I want to explore this a little bit of depth because it's so at the heart of your writing. Is there a perfect love or a perfect, not lover like a person, but is there an ideal there in your mind?
No. It has four legs.
Okay, well, we can go there too. But
no, I'm just kidding.
Well, my point is what's the oppositional force to the scrappy fighter? Does it make sense?
What am I fighting against?
No, it's like if you're a person who wants to be understood or seen, the foe on that end of the equation is somebody who doesn't see you or doesn't appreciate you.
Right.
And you have to prove them wrong.
Yeah, it's
but the positive side of that equation is somebody who understands.
Right.
Well, what is it that they understand about you that maybe most people?
I don't know. I don't know what they'd understand. I don't know if anybody understands anybody really.
But so when you're writing a love song and you're writing about somebody else,
right?
Is it just a sort of miasmic idea of?
Well, I'm just in that character.
Okay.
Know? Like so.
So if
it has to be, I'm being authentic to what is being said in that song.
But is there an oppositional character usually that you're speaking to?
It depends depending on the song.
Okay.
It depends on.
Yeah, just because you've written so many great love songs, I almost
but not everything's. I have some good, songs that aren't.
I've heard the angry songs too,
yeah,
but
those are fun.
I was just wondering if there's like sort of an idealized thing. Does it make sense?
No, not one idealized thing.
Yeah. So I think I have an idealized thing. That's kind of
what is that? What is that?
I think it has something to do with my mother, and it has something.
Well,
to
maybe mine does too. The proving people wrong. That was the first person I had to prove wrong, was my mom. So.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You're sort of speaking to somebody.
Right. So even if it's about something else, there's a subliminal thing.
Yeah, because part of my story is my mother was institutionalized when I was 4. So my mother was in my life, but at a distance.
Right.
So I had to create a kind of mental version of my mother that was or wasn't real that over time had to be amended.
Wow.
So when that became there's that old, I'm sure you've heard it, like little boys marry their mothers and little girls marry their fathers, that type of thing. But the notion is that if you have an idealized conception of in this case the mother, well then when you go into adult life and you're trying to find a partner, and if that holds true that you're looking for your mother, well you're looking for somebody that doesn't exist.
Right.
Because I had to create an idealized version of my mother in my mind.
Wow. Because
the real person I couldn't navigate.
Did you ever get to know her?
Oh yeah, I was very close to my mother, and it's a very strange, long story that I'd love to tell you if you want to hear it. But
yeah,
but so I feel like I'm oftentimes writing to like a ghost.
Oh wow.
And then by extension, and that's why I asked about California and growing up here, because by extension, I think this is a very similar to a lot of people grew up in the Midwest, in basements and latchkey kids.
Right.
we're kind of talking about something that we were sort of promised, but we know it isn't real. But television created a fake,
right?
Because there it was.
And now it's the internet. Now it's Instagram,
sure,
isn't it? Right.
But the 1975 version was Eric Estrada on a motorcycle,
right?
Or Farrah Fawcett,
right.
Charlie's Angels, all this. It was like it looked
enticing.
Yes, and it created a kind of mental idea of something. Even though it's not real, you believe it to be real, so you kind of chase it.
I wonder how many people came, to Hollywood and,
endless
with that, like thousands.
See, you growing up here, I think it's probably a different perspective. I always the analogy I always get is people get off the bus.
Right.
Think of how many Sally Mays came from Kansas. They were the high school prom queen.
And they came here, and there was like 1 million of them.
Oh yeah! Can you imagine that moment where you look around and you realize you're one of you're working with the other prom queen that was from the other state and
or the other city right next door to you that you didn't know.
Yeah.
But growing up, like I said, right down the street from here, Hollywood was 1 million miles away too.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, just when I'd go, going over the hill to have meetings, and it just seemed like it was almost like being from the Midwest, being in the Valley, but not the idealized thing, not like.
So are your parents alive, or they passed?
No, they're gone. Yours?
Both, they're gone,
Yeah, we're orphans.
So when did your mommy and daddy pass away?
Well, my dad, a long time ago, and he was 70 in 87. My mom in 2002.
Okay, so
86.
Dad got to see some success.
Yeah. Oh, he'd call radio stations and... and request songs. And,
That's so amazing.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
That must have felt.
Yeah, and then I got a good friend from that, because one of the people he called, I ended up becoming really good friends with.
So, and your mother, how would she see your success?
She saw a lot of it, and she would say she's proud of me, but she wouldn't, I'd say, Mom, I just got a check for like some ridiculous amount of money. She goes, well, how much are you going to keep?
Well, that's that old logic, like, you're not, it's not going to last. And
in the Depression era, because my parents were older parents.
Okay.
When they had me, so.
Okay, last question. So did you prove whoever you're trying to prove wrong?
A lot of them.
But not all of them.
Not all of them. Nice talking to you.
You too. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.